Yes, yes. Welcome once again, everyone. Cannabis News with Joe Klare is October 29th, 2018. Presented, as always, by the Marijuana Times. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Click that video tab at marijuanatimes.org to find the show. Today, talking about Kentucky and hemp. Also, a marijuana legalization in 5 charts. And who is not allowed to smoke legal cannabis or use legal cannabis in Canada, even though they may be an adult. Well, I'll tell you all about that. First, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com. If you're in a state where it's legal to cultivate cannabis, you want to be safe, you want to grow safe and poison-free, you don't want to use harmful chemicals, you do not want to run afoul of regulations, you want to be regulatory compliant in the state you're growing in, which means not using banned pesticides. So go check out Natureside, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. If I seem, my voice is a little deeper, a little scratchier. I seem out of breath. I seem like I've been running, although I haven't. I've been sitting here. You may remember last week I was battling being under the weather a little bit, and that battle has worsened for me. This is pretty much full-blown flu, but I've never missed one of these shows. We've been doing this almost a year, 5 shows a week. I've done 5 shows a week, like clockwork, since we began, this being episode 256, I believe. I'm not going to start now missing shows. The only thing that's going to keep me from doing a show would be something catastrophic, or something that would also be catastrophic, me losing my voice. And at that point, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to do anything about that, but I can do something about this. I can still bring you cannabis news, fighting through my flu. So it seems like I'm out of breath. Well, I am. I feel like I've been running for 20 minutes before starting the show, even though, like I said, I've just been sitting here. This first story from marijuanatimes.org by yours truly. Kentucky leading the way in industrial hemp. I got a chance to visit Kentucky Naturals, which is a hemp processor and CBD extractor in northern Kentucky. I do the show from northern Kentucky, right across the river from Cincinnati. And being in the Cincinnati area, there's not a lot of opportunities for me to see the cannabis industry or the hemp industry up close. But one of those opportunities did present itself. I met with Amy Miles at Kentucky Naturals, and she walked me through the factory, told me all about, the processing and such. All of that can be found in the story that I wrote in Marijuana Times. It's linked in the description of this video. Of course, Kentucky is leading the way in hemp. Not many things Kentucky leads the way in, but whenever there's a conversation about hemp and the growth of industrial hemp, people talk about states like Colorado, but they always mention Kentucky when it comes to industrial hemp. Over 70 counties, over 200 growers, more than 70 hemp processors in the state. So Kentucky leading the way. Check out Kentucky Naturals LLC. You can find them on Facebook. All that's linked in the article. And thanks again to Amy Miles for letting me check out Kentucky Naturals out there in Florence, Kentucky. I'll be going back when they get all of their processes up and running. They're at full capacity. Do a little video tour, interview, all that stuff. And we'll bring it to you right here, of course, on Cannabis News. This next story from PolitiFact.com. Is that the screenshot I took? That does not look like the screenshot I took. That is a full view. Not what I was looking for. In any case, there it is in all its tiny glory. See, the flu is a detail killer. Basically, the flu is a detail killer, and that little detail escaped me. But that is not a tight screenshot at all. There's nothing tight about that screenshot. Look at that white space. It's horrible. It's horrible. That's flu-induced white space in my screenshot. Look, it's even worse there. That's terrible. I'm getting that off there. It's enough of that. Anyway, PolitiFact, they put together 5 charts. I'm going to show you a couple of them that shows the track of legalization. This first one is, of course, U.S. public opinion on legalizing marijuana. Different polls from Pew Research Center and from Gallup, of course, as well. And you can see there, legal has gone up, illegal has gone down, going back to 1973. Now over 60% of the public, nearly two-thirds in the new Gallup poll, which is a record high, are supportive of cannabis and cannabis legalization. Of course, there's many reasons for that. Obviously, the internet has a huge bit to do. Medical marijuana and its acceptance has done more to add to the momentum of marijuana legalization, and of course, recreational legalization and the positives and the good factors that have come out of that over the last several years, and the lack of what people feared, rise in teen use, stone people just everywhere, crime rising, all that stuff that's not come to fruition. And as time goes on and more people learn about, cannabis and the truth about cannabis, even Republicans and older folks are coming around to seeing that marijuana is not a big deal and that there's no reason it should be illegal in the first place. And that, of course, is a good thing. Speaking of good things, here's the second of the two charts we're going to show you from the PolitiFact story. Again, if you want to see all of it, the article is linked in the description of this video. This is a chart from the National Conference of State Legislatures that shows each state and whether they have medical use, limited medical use, legal recreational marijuana, or completely illegal. There you see in my area, Kentucky, limited medical use, which is basically CBD. Indiana, the same. Ohio does have more medical use, even though there's no dispensaries open as of yet. In theory, Ohio has a medical marijuana program with dispensaries and recommendations and the whole 9 yards. Again, chart from PolitiFact, PolitiFact.com. You can check out the rest. Linked in the description of this video. You click on the article. And there you go. See a lot of handy charts. This last story from NewYorkTimes.com. Smoking marijuana is legal in Canada unless you're South Korean. That's right. The unlucky people I mentioned earlier are indeed South Koreans. Recreational cannabis use may now be legal in Canada, but South Koreans visiting the country who are tempted to smoke up risk facing punishment back home. Their government has warned. South Korean embassy in Canada said on Twitter, quote, even if South Koreans are in a region where marijuana is legal, it will be illegal for them to consume it. Please take care not to commit an illegal act and be punished. Now, people talk about North Korea and the dictatorship there, and obviously, and the people starving in the prison camps and all that is horrible. But let's not gloss over the draconian nature of this coming from South Korea, supposedly a free country, supposedly a country at least that's an ally with us. It has human rights in mind, apparently, when they do things. Again, in theory. But the notion that a citizen of your country goes to Canada and smokes weed and that's illegal and you're going to punish them when they get back, that's pretty crazy. I mean, if that's offensive to some people, I don't care. I had the flu. Blame it on that. No, don't blame it on that. I'll be offensive whenever I feel the need to be offensive. And if that's offensive, too bad. Under the country's narcotics law, growing, possessing, transporting, and consuming marijuana is a crime punishable by up to 5 years in prison or a fine of up to 50 million won, which is about $44,000. 5 years and $44,000. If you use marijuana in Canada and they know about it and you come back, they'll punish you. Prosecutors frequently indict returning citizens who experiment with cannabis, as well as those who frequent casinos while overseas. Gambling, like pot smoking, is illegal in South Korea. And that means it's illegal everywhere South Koreans go. That's nuts. That is nuts. There's no way around that. The notion that the country you live in, laws extend to all of the countries you visit because you're a citizen of that first country, I don't know. There are about 23,000 South Korean students in Canada. As of May of this year, 293,000 South Koreans were traveling to Canada, and all of them will be breaking the law of South Korea, the laws of South Korea, if they get caught using cannabis. But I mean, I guess if you're not planning on going back to South Korea and blaze up, I mean, I don't know, but if you are planning on going back, beware. I mean, I know it sounds crazy to us. It's to say that if we live in the United States and marijuana is illegal on a federal level, and if we went to, Uruguay and smoked some legal weed down there, or went to Canada and smoked some legal weed there, and we came back, we'd be punished for that. That didn't even register with us. We can't relate to that. Most of us can't relate to that. I certainly can't. If I was South Korean, I'd say, well, Canada is pretty good. It's cold, but I imagine South Korea is cold a lot of the time. It's kind of, the northern hemisphere. Maybe I'll just hang here in Canada. That's what I'll do. enjoy their legal weed and their maple syrup. South Koreans like maple syrup? I don't know. Again, generalizing. No need. Time to wrap up the show. The flu-induced show. Thanks, everybody, for checking this out. Cannabis news. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of the show. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Search the Marijuana Times on Apple Podcasts as well to get the audio-only version of the show. Thank you for listening and hanging there with me as I hang in there with you, spreading the truth about cannabis. And we'll see you next time right here, feeling better, hopefully, on Cannabis News.